Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, the show where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. We're finishing off Transformers Beast Wars Season 1 with Other Voices Part 1 and Other Voices Part 2. First part debuted March 31st, 1997. The second, April 1st, 1997, meaning the ending of this season is an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
Oh,
Optimus Prime is dead. Primal is dead. April
Ding
Fool.
dong, the ape is
ding.
dead. The ape is dead.
Oh, the
Uh,
monkey's dead.
yeah. Yeah, a lot of big things here. Before we were rolling, we were talking like I guess theology and in the wider Cybertronian lore, who's the kind of I guess supreme deity or pantheon of deities in the for Cybertron?
That's a that's a solid question. Because I have an answer. So
I know you
Primus
do.
is like, yeah, Primus is like the creator god of the Transformers. He's like God, and Unicron is robot Satan. And Primus's body is what makes up the planet of Cybertron. So when Primus died, he became the planet Cybertron, and his spark became Vector Sigma, where all other sparks come from. So kind of God and Jesus at the same time. And then from there, you have the primes, like Optimus Prime, Rodimus Prime. And they're kind of a mix between being apostles and Jesus and also robot Pope,
Hmm.
where it is a title that is conferred upon you when you are in possession of the Matrix of Leadership. And the Matrix of Leadership kind of picks and chooses who gets to use it, like a wand from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So you have to be robot, and also Optimus Prime did die for our sins in 1986.
Yes.
So he also has a bit of a Jesus thing. Like I've said it before that he's the robot pope. He is the robot pope, but he's also a military leader and like a physical connection to the god that the god that is the corpse that they live upon and drink the lifeblood of to continue to exist. What I'm saying is that the Transformers pantheon is metal.
Yeah, I mean, it's very kind of almost like Viking Norse mythology in a way. And of course, like that also means like Optimus is kind of similar to Gandalf being an avatar of the Valar and
Oh
going
yeah.
into all of that, and who
And
also
that's
died and came back even more dope. And yeah, that was a whole thing.
this doesn't even dive into like the Knights of Cybertron and the Hand and like all the other insane stuff that becomes a part of that.
The
Yeah.
Knights of Cybertron being Optimus's Frank Sinatra cover album. Very, very good.
So you had mentioned, I guess to go into the plot, which I don't think we had actually did before, of what
No.
happens in this episode. So picking off from the cliffhanger of the preceding episode, the aliens are pissed that all of their fun things that they left behind have been messed with by this, Predacon Maximal fight. And of course, in a very kind of Galactician move, they take on the form of, you mentioned Unicron to communicate with our heroes and villains. Um,
Or they're more comfortable with robot Satan.
yes.
Yeah. They have quite a fun plan because they drop basically a crop circle on them with a load of glowing balls on it. Then that becomes a tent. It's like they basically take Optimus Prime to the circus. That the circus involves electrocution. I've not seen the new Cirque du Soleil show. It might be in that. Yeah, and then they said I always bugs me in fiction when they have a thing of like, oh, we've come to you in a form you understand more. And it's like, because you're like, no, we're not. They have this here because they come as Unicron, and the doctor's like, Unicron, oh, we're not him. We just don't have a form you understand. It's like, well, then why did you bother? You just made this conversation longer and more confusing for no benefit. Just be a cube or something.
Yeah.
What? Why be the robot devil? The actual factual robot devil that eats planets. Like that's the thing we're missing here is that Unicron is a planet devourer with his horrible little like this going on,
I mean, it really is Galactus. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's just Galactus.
It's especially funny because they drop it like immediately. They're like, he's like, oh, but you're could you be? No, we're not. No.
No,
We're just wearing his face.
Yeah, it's like the Pennywise or It, I suppose, in It. It has
we
to have
all We all want to be voiced by Orson Welles, even though we can't be anymore, but we all want to be.
Only if it's a Japanese whiskey commercial.
As he slowly
Remembering that
deteriorates.
Unicron was Orson Welles' last role is kind of insane.
Yeah.
It's especially sad because the interviews about that 10 years on. I want a Comic-Con panel where it's Orson Welles is still alive to do it with Transformers fans, and it's just him drunkenly shouting abuse at them.
I mean, a lot of Transformers fans would be very into that.
That's Hall H worthy. That's yeah, we're putting that one on the main stage.
Visitors in front row will get hit with whiskey bottle.
Yeah.
We'll get it. But that whiskey bottle is going to go for $10,000 on eBay.
It will pay the medical costs of being hit by the whiskey bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff hurts. Yeah, so yeah, we get the aliens are pissed. There's a doomsday weapon because of course there's going to be a damn doomsday weapon.
Yeah. They make the Death Star because the moon we've been talking about for a while now is secretly a Death Star, but it's specifically not a Death Star because after looking a bit Death Star, it becomes a big circle. Like you can almost see the moment the lawyer walked into Mainframe's offices, and they're like, "It's not a Death Star; it's a big circle."
Yeah.
Can't sue us for that, can you?
Yeah.
It's a dinner plate of doom.
Yeah, that's no moon. Just kidding. It actually is still technically a moon.
Yeah,
It
we're
is a
just
legally distinct moon.
we're just gonna auto spawn a bunch of like little probes on it, but well, you can watch them rendering in real time.
Yeah.
The weapon charging up, there's a long charge up this weapon, and we see it growing. Is the most 2000 CG. It's lots of shiny circles and spheres. It's like it does feel like you've ever watched Compu Movie or any of those sort of early CG art projects. It is just one of those.
Yeah, it's Sphere.
It is Sphere, but with bloom.
Yeah.
We've developed textures.
We have them. It's true.
Watch out.
Yeah. So I mean the big stuff, Black Arachnia on her own side as usual.
Yep, we get the continuation of the Tarantulas Black Arachnia plotline. Basically, Tarantulas wants to build a ship to get out of here because he's the most forward-thinking of them. Turns out Megatron's kind of seeding that plan a little bit. So he has Black Arachnia follow Tarantulas to try and screw him up, and then Inferno follow Black Arachnia. But then, of course, Megatron forgot backstabbing in shoes.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of the whole like promotion structure of Decepticons / Predacons is who can kill who fastest gets to run shit.
Yeah. So now Optimus is like, I'm going to fly this thing right into that weapon and blow it up because that is what I do.
It's Independence Day rules.
Which would have been like what, the year before or something like that, 2 years before. It's 90. Independence Day was July 4th, 96.
Yeah, this would have been like the year before.
Yeah. So
Mainframe in the cinema like, this doesn't have enough monkeys for my liking.
Doesn't have enough for me.
Yeah. We need more. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
Because it ends on, this basically spoilers. It ends on a cliffhanger. Optimus dies, kind of, but we don't see sort of the fallout. And that was the most upsetting thing for me in the world. But the thing that bugged me most of this episode, I got to part 1, and the next episode loaded, and I saw the timer bar being like 21 minutes. Like, oh, we're not getting any answers to any of this, are we?
Not for like 6 months. I want to say it was like or something. Was it? Yeah, it would have been
It nearly wasn't 6 months, which is even funnier.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because Mainframe, Bob Ford, he talks about this in an interview, that apparently there was talk about waiting a year because Star Wars Episode 1 was coming out, and they thought that would take over sci-fi and kids would want it. And he was apparently in this interview being like I'm telling them that's suicide. That will just kill the show. And they did apparently relent. Like, God, imagine that ending and waiting like 3 years to be told Optimus is alive.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hey,
Also,
kids, more Rat Trap.
Also, I love that we with the gift of hindsight get to look back and be like, Star Wars Episode 1, huh? That's what we were really worried about, right?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I mean, as much as we shit on, and it makes it so easy to do it, as much as we shit on the Phantom Menace, that movie did buku box office, and the merchandising and stuff around that, like games, action figures. Good God, man!
Toys where you could lick Jar Jar Binks' tongue.
Yeah, yeah. So the summer of 1999 was all Star Wars all the time.
Yeah,
To be fair, the pod racing game, spot on, excellent.
I guess the thing, if Star Wars Episode 1, if you're a kid when it was coming out, you ended up with a load of Star Wars stuff, even if you had no idea what Star Wars was. I know a lot of kids who just didn't know Star Wars. It's like, oh yeah, you get given things like so this is the big thing, and it was everywhere.
It's true. You know what? Statement redacted. Um,
Yeah.
And it's not the worst Star Wars film.
no, not
I'm
even
gonna
by a mile anymore.
feel free to send me hate mail in the comments.
Ooh, we're whipping up controversy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I for me it's the Rise of Skywalker, but anyway.
Anyway,
For me, it's Ewoks because I don't
Yeah.
like those little guys.
Oh. That was direct to video, I thought. But I
It
could
was,
yeah.
but I'm not going to waste the moment to say Ewoks are terrifying.
Ewoks are terrifying. But regardless of terrifying Ewoks, instead we have Black Arachnia getting possessed by the ghost of tarantulas.
I mean,
Yeah, because he's hacking into the pod, sort of guided to make his thing, and then she kills him. Well, no, Inferno kills him by setting him on fire. Yeah, then she puts the glass on, has like this weird psychedelic freak out, which is kind of like when Ed does stuff in Bebop. But then, yeah, near the end, her eyes go green. She starts talking in Tarantulas' voice, which is. We are going to get an answer to that, are we? Please tell me.
Yes.
Good. Is it going to be satisfying?
Can't promise you.
Good.
No
Good.
promises.
Yeah, and of course, this is really confusing because this episode, Tarantulas isn't played by Alec Willows, apart from that one line. Scott McNeil's doing all his voice lines.
Is that why Dinobot isn't in either of these episodes?
It's weird because Dinobot doesn't talk very much at all in this episode, and one of the Predacons you see doesn't have any lines either. It really does feel like this was recorded before everyone left.
Breaking for
Everybody
school,
was
guys.
about to go.
Yeah.
Everybody was about to go on vacation, and they were like, "Scott, can you stay for like 20 minutes?"
Yeah, Scott, you're Australian and cheap. You can do this, right?
You're like, stay, I live here.
Scott's like, "This is my apartment. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Get out!"
I mean, but yeah, it's big moves on this one. But yeah, God, a multi-year hiatus from an ending like this would have been
It would
just
have killed the momentum.
yeah.
I think the biggest problem for me with this is that part two feels more like part 2 or 3. But there's more seed than we have answers here. Like we have the aliens hint to this bigger threat they've got to deal with, and all this other stuff. It just doesn't feel like an ending.
My question for both of you is, we are gifted and cursed with Apollo's gift of prophecy, because we live in 2025. So 30 some odd years later, many Optimus Primes have died in a glorious manner.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, with this being the first animated Transformers media after the 86 movie and, the last season of G1 Transformers, how do you feel about them killing Optimus again this early on in the run of this?
I mean, you kind of like the way things were going, it kind of telegraphs that there's got to be a big sacrifice play, and who else on the Maximals would have done it, frankly. I mean, there's a precedent there, even in 1997 or whatever, 1990, yeah, 1997. So yeah. It's like, all right, this in terms of the pantheon of prime deaths, I mean, it's not the 86 death, but
But nothing is.
no, I don't think anything is even after, after this or with the movies, but the live action movies. But yeah, it's fine. It is rather abrupt, but yes, it's fine.
Yeah, same thing. I think we needed some fallout from this because technically, to be fair, we don't know he's even dead. We just know his pod blew up. He could be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did feel a bit abrupt. I think it wasn't helped by that little because when Optimus like, I'm going to fly in there and blow it up, they have this little argument over who's going to do it.
Yeah.
Which basically sets up the joke of Rat Trap being like, oh, suicide isn't in my job description. Good on you, Rat Trap. That's a good union man there. But they have this weird argument, and you can kind of tell that I think the writers had a moment because Tigatron goes, I owe this world. And you're like, actually, yeah, Tigatron is the one who has the most. Because the whole point the aliens are blowing up the Energon to wipe all life off the planet, not just the Predacons and Maximals. So Tigatron has a deeper connection with, and it plays into his a couple episodes ago when he was mourning the loss of his friend because of the war. Then Optimus goes, only a fly can do it. It's like, okay. And
Why?
then Ares like, oh, I can do it. And Optimus like, no, I have to do it. I kind of feel that undercut it a bit because it does feel like Tigatron has
More
the
motivation.
bigger emotional thing here because why, like, as a leader, there's no point in you doing it because you're the only one who's competent around here.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it ties to the wider Beast Wars thing of like every now and again in each episode, the writers remember that technically Megatron is leading the Predacons and technically
Technically.
Optimus Primal is leading the Maximals. They're like, oh shit, that's right. Like,
Yeah, I get it. It just felt. I think it was literally. I had that thing when the Tigatron just said his lines like, "Oh yeah, no, that's totally the arc here."
yeah.
It's like that line immediately just pulled me out. I was like, "Oh yeah,
And
Megatron is in this episode, which is nice."
yeah, Megatron gets to be in the episode. He gets to be mean to Prime as he's dying.
Yeah.
Like, pointing out like, oh, you Optimuses, always making sacrifices. And
Gets
I
to
think
Zoom call him.
Zoom calling him out of spite, like crazily. And that's such a Megatron move, but it's actually a Starscream move if you think about it.
Well, the funny thing about that is that the problem with this is like there's only been one other Optimus who's died so far, so him making this big thing is weird because it's a part of a cut thing from the script. In an interview, Bob Forward when talking about Transformers with the guy called Hooks X, who did a lot of Transformers fan stuff, was basically teasing a big surprise, but said he'd only mentioned it verbally, he hadn't put it in the script. And later on, he confirmed that it was going to be the cameo was for Megatron to gloat Primal while in the stasis pod by linking to a direct communication with Autobot leader Optimus Prime. Prime was to be shown on Primal's view screen as Primal raced for the false moon to meet his demise. So it's like, here's your dad.
Here's your dad. See, it's cool. It's cool and all, and I'm not mad at the idea, but it's also like that would ruin like a very fun little reveal later on in this show. So on the one hand, I dig it. On the other hand, like the reveal later on is much more worth it.
I think it would have been so confusing for kids at the time.
Probably because it had been a minute since G1 Transformers had been like around.
Yeah, like introducing a character like 10 seconds before for the ending of the episode just feels a bit weird. Weirdly, that isn't the only cut Transformers G1 reference in these two episodes. Because Rat Trap was going to comment in the early script. Rat Trap was going to comment on the weird dome the aliens build by
Oh.
saying it's creepier than Crystal City on Constructicon Day. Okay, because I thought I was like, all right, Rat Trap.
See, I find it funny because I have context. Um,
Which is why I presume they dropped that, because if you don't know what that means, it's entirely nonsensical.
yeah, because Crystal City, it's a very funny reference internally, but you would have to know the Constructicons, you would have to know Crystal City, and you'd have to know like why that's funny, and that's too much to ask of like a 7-year-old, you know?
Especially I think that's the thing we'll say with the Optimus thing, especially because these two episodes are so plot heavy, they would have felt like Chekhov's guns, and I think left the kids a bit disappointed when they don't actually mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think if there's any other connections to the lore other than the Unicron kind of nod cameo thing.
See, it's interesting knowing how much other G1 stuff was supposed to be in here, especially with the aliens being Unicron. Like it's interesting that they left the Unicron thing, but everything else kind of faded out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of works because big floating heads are just cool.
But to be fair, Unicron's big floating head being the only part of Unicron really was like a season 3 thing, and it was kind of tied into Galvatron and how insane he was. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Galvatron did get put in a home at one point in season 3. Like Cyclonus gets really concerned about him and checks him into like an alien mental health planet. And he's so crazy he infects the mental health planet with his insanity.
No, it's
So
like Like Michael
Weird.
Myers in Halloween 2018.
A little bit, yeah, but like in 87, you know, like
Yeah.
but but yeah, like it's interesting that it would be Unicron as opposed to like Optimus Prime or a character like that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Talking of infecting the whole planet, I just want to point out episode one has one of two really annoying moments. One when the base is self-destructing, the flashing is obnoxious. Surprised they got away with that in the 90s because even by 90s standards of flashing lights, it was obnoxious. But I love that there's like a noise the base is making, like a really heavy vibrating noise. And
Oh
I'm going to tell
yeah.
you, that made me freak the hell out because it sounds exactly how my phone vibrates when we get emergency alerts in
Oh,
Canada. So I was like, oh shit, earthquake.
well,
Grab my
consider
phone.
this is a Canadian production.
I think this was a thing at that point, but I was like pausing, got up, was grabbing a bag, like, oh crap. So,
Oh no.
and I was like, oh no, it's just Optimus Prime.
Just Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's just Prime. But
He
That's
says
so
as he
prime.
dies.
Yeah.
so I do want to ask, not because we can talk a little bit more about the episodes, but how do you both feel about season one in general? What are your thoughts around the beginning of Beast Wars?
It's very 90s. I mean, the animation style, the early CG style that I loved as a kid because I was like, this is the future of the animation. It was the same thing with Quest World and the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. Anytime they went into Quest World and it suddenly shifted to the rudimentary like CG animation, I was like, this is now we're in it. It's awesome. So that always kind of brings me back, especially like the more barren the backgrounds, the better. Where it's just like we can only afford to show these many assets. We have to render this.
You know
The
how long that takes on a 56K modem?
Have to crank it.
yeah. Um, so it's kind of been a pleasant trip down memory lane in that regard. Seeing the G1 connections such as they are. I think we get like maybe four the entire season. Um, Mostly just the Ghost of Starscream, but the yeah, it's those are always cool to see it kind of it find its place in the lore. But for me, outside of like the dinosaurs and Tigatron, I just like the vehicles. I just like the vehicles, dude.
Yeah, I've kind of fallen in love with this show. I've been having a really good time with it. I think because it is taking big swings, I always appreciate that. It's not landing many of them, but when it's landing them, they're working well. I think they desperately need to work on how they're handling the core plot because, ironically, this alien subplot is where Beast Wars has been the weakest because they don't clearly know what they're doing fully. You get the feeling they're kind of always sort of double playing it just in case they don't get more time. Yeah, these last two episodes have good moments, but they're weak because of that. It really does feel like we're having to. If I hadn't been reading sort of behind the scenes stuff, I could have totally believed that like all the Stonehenge stuff and all that was all written last minute as just let's tie all the stuff together. It kind of reminds me a tiny bit of Lost in that we had a lot of mystery boxes, but unfortunately they don't know how to make those into one mystery that makes sense.
Yeah.
They also need to work on their blooming next ons because both the times we've had them, they've been terrible.
Yeah, they've been bad
The,
next ons.
the one for this one is for part two is really annoying because it spoils all the moments in order. Literally, you see everything in the order in the episode. So what? Why show me Optimus dying now? Because it's really because you see him in the pod. It's okay. Well, cool. Thanks for ruining the ending for me, Beast Wars.
What? Why bother at this point? I the like I said, I love Beast. Like I will talk about this. I love Transformers. I love Beast Wars. I love what Beast Wars did for Transformers. I do admit there is a part of me that like I can't disagree. The vehicle ones are cooler, but there is like I really like rewatching this first season because it reminds me of just how off the rails this show gets to go. And we've talked about this other times before. I feel like animation in the last like 5, 10 years has been so afraid to take big swings like Beast Wars did. It's been so, I feel in a lot of ways, I think that a lot of kids animation has been so focus grouped into oblivion that a lot of it just doesn't have the kind of weird charm that stuff like Beast Wars got to have, or stuff that Reboot got to have. Like it's we're so sanitized now that we don't have room for this kind of mess, and it's mess is refreshing sometimes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the consequence of having only a handful of major studios producing film and television content, that it all kind of has the same house style to a degree. Like when you watch a Disney movie, and I like most Disney movies, you know what you're gonna get, at least in terms of the presentation. It's when I think that's part of the reason why stuff like Spider-Verse popped, where you kind of have the weird, now everybody does the delayed animations, like, isn't this
Yeah.
cool? And it's like, yeah, I mean, when I saw it like the first time.
It started the cycle anew.
Yeah. You know, I like to think I'm a little more hopeful. Like when you look at stuff like Flow,
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the most beautiful movies of last year, and stuff like that. Anime is kind of in a weird place, I think, these days.
I mean, it's
To
I
put it,
mean, anime can do whatever it wants.
yeah, but like, when's the last time you saw a truly innovative like anime production?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that's coming out of China now.
Um,
A, a
I'll, I'll
lot
say,
of that is coming out of China now.
I'll say what the Toei legal departments in our cease and desist letters they are more efficient than ever.
Yeah.
Those men are troopers. Please
Yeah.
stop
But
sending me letters.
I will say that, you're seeing a lot of like Chinese and Philippine and Thai studios starting to really kind of push the envelope and get a lot more notice. But the question is, how long does that get to last once they hit mainstream, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it when before, when they were cool.
I like it. I liked anime before it was all isekais and is it okay to pick up girls in a dungeon, which is apparently a good show, but I just like that title.
Yeah. Yeah. But in terms of Transformers, I mean, yeah, it's kind of, if Transformers needed to evolve to survive beyond the 80s, and Alex, you can probably speak more to this better than I can, but I think this was probably the shot in the arm I think the franchise needed. Um, because yeah, I think as fans now, where we get a reboot live action movie or an animated movie like Transformers 1 all the freaking time, um, I think a lot of fans kind of forget that there was like a significant period of dormancy for the franchise.
Yeah, I think one thing you tell with Beast Wars is it's clearly made by people who have no idea about Transformers. I think that really helps it. Like apart from sort of Ben Yi who was helping with this, you also get the feeling that they also knew when to tell Ben Yi to go away. He sounds like a lovely guy, but I like the fact that while we are linking back to the G1, we are still putting our flag firmly in the ground. And this is different. This is new. Like I think it proved it worked because something like Spark has become the default now. But I like that this is sometimes you've got to kill the sacred calf. And I think that's the thing with modern franchise media, which kind of it always overlooks. Like, oh, we're just going to have live action Bebop, we've said this 100 times, just copied what came before and didn't work because of that. I appreciate that Beast Wars was like, this is Beast Wars, it's going to be its own thing. And sometimes that's not going to work, but when it does work, it works great. And sort of my underline of Beast Wars is that I wasn't born, which I think is the mark. There are bits of these I can go like, oh, this could have been better, but I was never at a point where I just can't finish this. I'm just bored out of my skull.
I mean, just to kind of comment, Beast Wars was the shot in the arm that Transformers needed. Like the Marvel comics that they had for Transformers really never did fantastically because that was G2 essentially, and that didn't really do very well. And this brought Transformers back into the household. Like you would see G1 on syndication. It was like I loved it as a kid. I had Transformers as a kid. I still do, but it's a different thing now. Um, but Beast Wars is so important to the fabric of this fandom, and a very interesting thing was happening in the 90s. You know, you had a lot of stuff was getting rebooted, but they were killing the sacred calf, like John said. Like Star Trek had, you know, Next Gen was running. You had Deep Space Nine. Like you were doing more stuff with these franchises that had been dormant for so long. And I think that this is a good showing of how to do that well. Are there any other final thoughts before we wrap up, my friends?
I'm very excited for next season because I saw the plot synopsis of season 2, episode 1, though it was cut off on where I saw it. So all I saw was after the explosion, Megatron becomes trans. So I look forward to that.
Hey,
It's very
Lives
forward
matter.
thinking.
Yeah, yes. I do have an idea of what that is. But hey, trans is,
I think I do, but I just saw the
yeah,
look like, oh,
yeah,
good for him.
Good
yeah,
for him.
yeah, or them, or whatever,
Or
whatever.
her.
Yeah, whatever pronoun that they and gender identity they embrace.
And their dinosaur arm.
Yeah,
The dinosaur arm has a different gender. We need
yeah,
to be aware of this.
It has
yeah,
all of them.
yeah.
Yes.
Also,
Yeah.
And
surprisingly, a good
Trans is
thing.
right. Trans is the first thing you see with Transformers.
yes, they're literally robots in disguise.
More than meets the eye, guy.
More than meets the eye.
Unlike Megatron, who's about what you think when you see him. It's like,
What use does a robot have for gender? Anyway, sorry, Sam. You
Yeah.
were saying
What is a man? A miserable pile.
a miserable pile of secrets.
But enough talk. How about you? So the yeah, no, it's fine. It's been interesting. Like I say, it's kind of been a trip down memory lane to kind of revisit this very specific iteration of the Transformers history. It'll be interesting to kind of come back to it because I think we're all probably going to pick our season twos for our non-anime animated series. At least I am, and I feel like Alyx is. And we get to
Season
dive,
2's where it gets real good, real
yeah,
juicy.
we get to dive
oh,
into John's next, which will be interesting.
I'm so excited.
I've
But
got
yeah,
fun
I
now.
mean that's where I stand with it.
And like everybody knows, I've said it a million times. I love Transformers. I love Beast Wars. I love getting to rewatch season 1 because there was stuff I forgot about. Because I will admit, there's a part of me that kind of skips to season 2 because of how much I love that season. But yeah, Transformers Beast Wars is so important to the Transformers fandom, and the Transformers fandom is important to me. I've met one of my best friends through the Transformers fandom. I had a very popular Transformers Tumblr back in the day. Please don't try to find it because some of you will figure it out. That led to a lot of weird convention stuff. Anyway,
I love
but
waspinator.tumblr.com.
I love waspinator.tumblr.com. Don't trust me, you'll never find it. But that does mean we are pulling in to our final destination. That's right. It's time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again for joining us and talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time. Autobots, roll out.